Well, for most of us, our first taste of retirement planning really happened when we entered the workforce and our new boss offered up a 401k or maybe even a pension. Well, that used to be the standard. Now it's more the exception than the rule. So how do you start saving on your own? Ohio's retirement coach Greg Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group is here to help us with that and so much more as always. So good to see you, Greg.
It's always good to be here.
So there are a lot of things we kind of take for granted, I would say, as the norm. Things like a 401k, matches, pension plans.
Right.
But more and more companies really aren't doing a lot of this.
You're right. Many companies are not. And those who do have pension plans, because of some requirements based on government legislation, are now trying to get their retirees to take a buyout on the pension, which creates all sorts of questions and what should I do? So yes, you're right.
So we got to take control of it ourselves. That's the bottom line. So Sarah in Columbus wants to know, how can I plan for retirement myself if the company isn't offering any of these plans?
Well, that's a great question, Sarah. And so there's typically two places people will look, either a traditional IRA, individual retirement account, or a Roth IRA. So the difference is you get to deduct what you put in, depending on your income level, into an IRA. Now it will grow tax deferred over time, and what you take out will be taxable later on. Or you could put it into a Roth where you don't get a deduction now, but later on it's going to grow tax-free, and you also get to pull it out tax-free. So that can be beneficial. If you're under 50 years of age, you can put up to $5,500 rather per year, and if you're over 50, now you can put up to $6,500 in per year. So get started right away and pay yourself first, and you'll be glad you did.
That's a smart way to put it. Pay yourself first,
yes.
Right? And taxes aren't going anywhere but up. We've talked about that a lot. All right. Next up, we have Bill in Hilliard. He's at the opposite end of his planning. He says, my wife and I are 70. We have $950,000 in the market, $680,000 in our emergency fund. They don't have any debt, which is good. But he said, I'm considering selling my portfolio and putting everything in a money market. He wants to know your thoughts on it.
Well, I think any time that you are not diversified. And what I mean by that is there's three worlds of money. You have banks, credit union type places where we can put our money. It's certainly safe and it's available, but you're going to lose ground to inflation over time. Then you have insurance companies which offer some guarantees in their contracts that can give you longevity protection as far as outliving your money. And then there's Wall Street, which is usually just a mix of stocks, bonds, mutual funds, which will give you growth over time to really help keep pace and outpace inflation. I think there needs to be a balance there. Really, the reason, though, that most people are questioning whether or not they should have anything in the market is they remember what happened to them back in 2008.
Right.
And so in our practice, we've worked very, very diligently to find money managers who actually pay attention to that. They actually have some safety nets that we're placing underneath the portfolio, so you know going in what to expect as far as how far you could drop if the market drops and how to protect that. And when you're balanced amongst those three worlds, then you don't really feel that angst that you get when you feel like, man, I could have another 40 or 50% drop.
Right, and then when the bottom drops out in that case, you may not have time to recover.
Well, that's right, especially if you're 70 years of age, like our listener here that wrote in, that said, okay, I'm a little worried. Well, when you're 70, you don't have time to make it up like you did when you were 30 or 40.
Right. All right, Greg. Finally, James in West Jefferson says he's intrigued by fixed index annuities. They almost sound too good to be true, though. So he's wondering if there's some part of this that he's missing.
Well, fixed index annuities, like anything else, there's good and there's bad, and there's always a string attached. Okay, so you have to understand that with any annuity that you put your money in, there's going to be a length of time that you have to keep it there. Otherwise, you're going to pay some sort of penalty.
Okay.
Now, what you have to watch out for in fixed index annuities is that some of them have really low caps. So you really don't have any potential there. But there are others, I often say if you put 100 annuities on my desk, I may throw 90 of them in the trash can, but there are a few that are really good.
Okay.
So you want to understand what the fees are. You want to understand are there caps or limits to what you can gain. How long are you committed to this annuity? But in the right situation, for the right contract, they can be a good option.
All right, good to know. Of course, Greg's sticking around. We're talking about an issue that will impact nearly all of us, and that is the need for long-term health care. We're going to explain how retirement planning can help you there next.